Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Bitcoin Morning Brief. I'm Leah Wald here with Tone Vays. JD may jump in this morning, but Tone, what's going on in New York?
Oh no, I have no idea. I've been actually like up to my neck with code testing, trying to release the new TI code. I was supposed to do it this weekend, but as you all learn, when you're working with code, it always takes twice as long and usually twice as expensive. So that's kind of. I haven't even looked at the price since I did my video last night, so we will take a look later and see what happens.
Nice. Sounds good. So just like yesterday, we began with Japan. Today, we're going to do the same thing, but with a little fun M&A. So sharing. All right. So SBI Bank. SBI Bank's venture arm invests in crypto wallet creator. So SBI Group is huge. It's listed on the TopX, which began as a SoftBank investment. For me, it's interesting to see that another country is supporting an industry through the support of a cold storage wallet. But when you read the highlighted part below, I read very quickly. The important part of this story for me is that Ripple seems to be gaining traction in Japan. So quick read of that. In addition, through a partnership with the blockchain remittance startup Ripple in 2016, SBI Holdings established a new firm dubbed SBI Ripple Asia in an effort to bring domestic banks on board to pilot blockchain tech in cross-border remittance. So it's my assumption, it isn't clear from the article though, but do you think that Ripple's involved with this cool BitX project?
No, no, I don't think so. I think it's completely independent. At least that. I really think this is just, I would actually. It's funny because in the next story I'm going to talk about the horrible reporting of CoinDesk. So if I had to guess, this is probably like good reporting by CoinDesk, where they took a look at the history of this bank and saw what have they done in the blockchain space prior to this venture. And they had this stupid arrangement with Ripple, right? So this basically, more investigation would need to be done. The way I look at this is competency. If they continue to still work with Ripple and they don't understand how dumb Ripple is, and it's, God forbid, it's the same people involved in building a wallet, I would absolutely not touch that hardware wallet with a 10-foot pole. Now, if it's completely different divisions of the bank and someone still has to check if they're still working with Ripple, right? Like, for example, there could be like this giant headline, this company is going to test out the Ethereum code, kind of like what happened with with Microsoft like a couple of years ago. And then like 3 weeks later, someone at Microsoft said, oh God, this is stupid. But there's no headline that says Microsoft has dumped looking at Ethereum code. Like there's no headline telling you what else happened, right? After that. So to me, this is kind of independent unless there's more information. It's good because there's almost no money in creating a software wallet, like a phone wallet. It's very, very difficult. It has to be like a grassroots movement in order to have a phone wallet. But a hard wallet is a profitable business. I mean, look at Ledger, look at Trezor, KeepKey, Digital Beatbox is getting in the game. I have all four of those at home, by the way. Well, not literally at home, but I have, I'm in possession of all four, like for testing purposes and stuff. So I like them. But so getting into the hardware wallet game is way more profitable than getting into the phone wallet game, even though the phone wallets are a lot more like useful on the go. So to me, it's kind of independent, and I'm really curious what they're doing with Ripple, because the other business seems to be like a profitable, investment for a bank, because there's lots of money to be made in selling a hardware wallet.
Well, if that's true, then this next story also has to do with some confusing reporting. So Brazil regulators move to block Bitcoin mining investments. So this is potentially an incorrect headline that I'm going to ask you about, as it seems potentially they're really banning mining securities. So it's such an important and large economy as Brazil, struggling to come out of a deep recession with their worst unemployment crisis, lower cash flow, falling terms of trade, decline in investment. You'd think that they would want to support such an initiative that could boost potentially their economy and support innovation that could potentially have positive effects on their Gini coefficient. So it's my opinion that it's because of actually all the corruption scandals recently, especially with oil, that they're struggling with, that scares these politicians. that they probably see supporting cryptos as another potential scandal that they want to stay away from. What do you think's going on?
Well, again, like to me, this headline is incredibly misleading, right? Because they're not talking about like the government, like the government that's responsible for their currency or unemployment. They're talking specifically about the regulator of securities here, right? So to me, unless there is like CoinDesk should have done more digging. They really needed to look into this, right? To me, this reads more like this is a Ponzi scheme. There may not even be any mining, right? Like there's this assumption that the government is stopping these guys from innovating in the mining space. The more likely and the situation here is that there is no mining on the back end. It's just some internet scammer that is trying to sell you another BitConnect while telling you that they're mining on the back end. They're basically selling cloud mining contracts all over social media of Brazil. And it's, again, more reporting needs to be done. But to me, this reads like a BitConnect and the Brazil security regulator is putting an end to it. Now, there's nothing here about the regulators banning mining. They're just banning the solicitation. And it even says it in the article. They're going after the solicitation of unqualified investors. So especially in a country like Brazil, where you have like poverty and you have like all of the problems with the economy that you mentioned. So to me, this looks like, hey, I get to take advantage of the poor people by trying to get even their last $3 by telling them that they're going to get rich by buying into my Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. Now, the fun one moving forward, more countries. Marshall Islands says that this is the first country to adopt a cryptocurrency as its official currency. You tweeted out this morning, and this is I'm excited about what you're going to say. I mean, this is a tiny country of 53,000 people. I personally find this absolutely hilarious because they picked a Y Combinator, Tel Aviv-based fintech startup, Neema, which is just absolutely tiny. I mean, at least Angel lists that they only have 3 employees and have only raised seed funding, and is actually a company that created an app for instant check cashing services. So I gotta think Israel won this one for sure. But what is going on?
I'm actually now curious if Neema themselves ICO. It looks like they raised funding, so they didn't ICO. No, this is beyond ridiculous. Like I highlighted in my tweet some of the more important parts in there, but no, this is totally crazy. Like in the first sentence, it says the reason for them creating a cryptocurrency is because they want to print their own money because they can't pay their bills. Like again, how is this different than them printing their own Marshall Island money at any point in history? There's nothing here. Like the point of Bitcoin is to separate the government's printing of money for themselves. So all they are doing is they're just like saying, hey, we have this new technology. Let's finally start printing our own money. Now, I don't actually have a big problem with a government printing their own money, right? But this is the hypocrisy of it. All of these people in crypto think that government should not be allowed to print their own money, but they're cheerleading themselves printing their own money, and they're going to cheerlead this, and they're going to want to buy into this nonsense, right? Like it's crazy. They're like, so we're going to print our own money. We're going to do it, under the pretense of blockchain. We're going to sell this garbage to international investors. Again, it's no different than them printing their own money. There's parts in that article where we're also going to give this money away to our citizens. We're going to, bribe our citizens with it. Half of all the money they're going to print is apparently going to go to this little, 5-people startup out of Israel, which is why in my tweet I put a question. I wonder if there's a cousin involved in there. I would love a deal for a country to print their money and give half of that money to me. Like, what is changing here? This is completely ridiculous. And of course, they have to put in sentences like, "Oh, we're doing it because of global warming." And also, you have to feel sorry for us because the US did nuclear testing on our islands. Well, don't let them do nuclear testing on your islands. Again, right? Like, you get into bed with by allowing the US government to test their nuclear stuff on your island, and then you want the rest of the world to pay for it by you printing your own money. I mean, don't do that, right? Like, go blame the politicians that came before you, and maybe you should throw them in jail, right? Instead of now trying, it's just completely ridiculous, right? Like, to me, this is the real scam, right? Not BitConnect. Like everyone should be smart enough to realize what BitConnect is. This is the stuff that people are going to be like, when's the ICO? I want to buy the security cheaper, right? They're also talking about how they're going to KYC everyone that buys the initial token. But if it is a real token, like an ERC20 token, then like, it doesn't matter if you KYC it. The moment those people can sell it on the open market, it becomes an unregistered, unlicensed trading of a currency.
I have no idea how this is gonna be pulled off, especially with that there's no background to my knowledge that this Israeli startup, again, that ran through the Y Combinator, has the ability to do this. And again, with 5 people, half of it going to Nima, as you said, I think this is a hilarious story. So we shall see how this plays out. Absolutely. All right, moving on. Past all the nonsense, let's talk about Bitcoin. So Bitcoin transaction volume hits 2-year low despite rock bottom fees. So the article is saying that even with the lowest fees and the highest speed of transaction, there's such little volume. I believe that this shows that those in the space worried about adoption increasing are proving to be correct. Tone.
Yeah, it's it's a combination of many things, right? It's just, I mean, we talked about the mempool several times, like when we did with Jimmy, it's a combination of many things. The price is going down. So when the price is going down, people don't really want to spend their Bitcoin. They might sell their Bitcoin and go into cash, but they don't really want to spend it. Like, we've now had enough bubbles to know that Bitcoin's spending, people, buying Lambos and buying homes and whatever, does tick up with the price rising, not the price falling. So that contributes to less transactions on the mempool. Like they mentioned in the article, companies like Coinbase and Bitfinex, I mean, now that they're batching transactions, now that they're using SegWit, there is a lot less pressure on the mempool. In addition, because of initiatives like batching and SegWit usage, spamming becomes more and more expensive because it's easy to spam when the mempool is already high due to real transactions, and then it doesn't cost you a lot of money to make it unusable. But now, if the mempool is genuinely not very clogged, it will cost you a lot of money to spam the mempool and make it unusable. And all of these things are kind of coming together. And what worries me is like this bad, declining spiral, right? It's like this, less people are using Bitcoin, therefore Bitcoin isn't very useful, and therefore maybe we shouldn't hold on to it. And if we're not holding on to it, then we're not going to use it as much. So it becomes this like bad cycle going down until the cycle reverses, and then and then the price will go back up. So the one thing that I would like to see these articles do more is go back to a similar point in time when we were dipping, right? So go back to 2014, go about, I don't know, a month or two after the 2013 high, and take a look and compare how the percentage drop of the mempool back off of that bubble compares to the percentage drop in the mempool in current bubble, to try and see if there is similarity there. So if someone wants to do that kind of research, that could help understand maybe give us a hint whether there will be more downside in price or not, if there is even a relationship there.
So regarding price, the expected pullback from the daily 9 is here. How bad is it going to be?
I don't think it's going to be that bad. Let me do screen share on the price. So the weekly chart, again, the week has just started. So the fact that this week is red is not really a big deal. I mean, we had the opposite situation 2 weeks ago when the price started, going up, 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 up in the beginning of the week. And by end of the week, we were all the way down. We can easily have the opposite situation. The price starts to go down in the beginning of this week and then rebounding in the second half of the week, which makes sense as to why the price is going down in the beginning of the week, because we were toppy here. And I warned people last night that, hey, you shouldn't be rushing in to buy Bitcoin on this dip. Now, last night when I was going to bed, this was still a 9. And if we pick up, maybe 10, 15 more bucks right here, as long as we close this candle by 7 p.m. Above $11,024, so about 25 bucks higher than current price of 11,000, this will close on a 9, and a 9 tends to signal the ending of rising momentum. And so I was expecting a 1 to 4 day correction. Now, it's possible that this correction started a little bit early, and by influencing that, by introducing this particular trading method to the world of Bitcoin that is now traded by hundreds of people in the world of Bitcoin, maybe, right? Am I creating self-fulfilling prophecies? Maybe. That's totally debatable. It doesn't really matter. It certainly doesn't matter to me. But I'm looking for a bit of a correction, and then I am looking for a rebound. I mean, I don't want this correction to be too big. My downside limit for this correction is about $10,200. If we go below $10,200, then I might have to take this $5,000 target from the cup and handle off the table. But even though this remains my target, and I do think we are on track for 16,000, then I'm still in line with that, and the current pullback does not endanger it yet. I'm not reading too much into this yet, other than, hey, we just moved fairly quickly from 9,200 all the way to almost 12,000, 11,700. That's like what, $2,500 move to the upside. It's okay to have a $1,000 correction. It's perfectly reasonable, but it can't be any more than that. Looking at the 4-hour chart, we are at the 50 period moving average, but I don't really consider this line to be all that important. It hasn't really done all that much going back and forth. Again, there could be a little bit deeper of a correction. I would like to see this rebound off of a 9, off of this Fibonacci line. So somewhere in the vicinity of 10,400, maybe tomorrow when it gives us a 4-hour 9, that would be nice timing. So that would be great. If it goes lower than that, because technically on a daily, you could be in a 1 to 4 day correction. It doesn't have to be a 1.5 day correction. We could go all the way down to the $10,000 area, 10.2. But like I said, I certainly don't want to see us go below 10K. That would create a very different future expectation for that. But right now, you're in a pullback. Try to time the dip. The hourly is not really giving you much. The hourly did hit double support between the setup trend line and the 200-day period average. So there could be a little bit of a bounce here, but we'll see. We're still dealing with a little bit of a pullback, and so far, I don't think it's a big deal. All right, back to you.
All right. First off, special shout out to the World Crypto Network. Thank you guys so much. And everyone, have a great day.
Yeah, check us out on their audio podcast, and I'll probably do something else on my YouTube channel later today.
Bye.